Hey guys, Brian again. So got another one to review tonight, and this one's got an interesting story. What I have is a BC Rich Mockingbird. You can see the headstock there, and this is the NJ series. And you may remember I've got another review on here of another guitar I've got called the BC Rich Avenge. That's pretty new. I think they came out within the last year or two. They still make the Mockingbird today, but this is actually an older one. This is from 1990. A year before I graduated high school. And interesting story about this. This is one I've been meaning to do a video on here for a few days, and finally worked out I could do it. So 1990, I am actually the original owner of this guitar. And a funny story how that worked out. So, I live in Northwest Arkansas. There used to be a music store, started over in Rogers, and then moved to Fayetteville, called Ace Music. And don't remember that gentleman's name. He's long since passed away. But anyway, this was one of his new stock of guitars he had in his shop. I don't think he ever had any used instruments. It was always brand new stuff. So this was made in 1990. He acquired it sometime around then, I guess. Okay, so, of course, it's this odd plum purple, which most people think is just hideous, I guess. I like it okay, I guess, but not a real popular color for a lot of people. So anyway, it must have sat in the store for at least 4 or 5 years before I took a look at it. And what I did was I used to have a Yamaha Pacifica, and this is not the ones that they make nowadays. They're just absolute complete pieces of crap. This was their first generation of that, and it had a particular model number after that. I'm forgetting it right now. But anyway, high quality guitar, high quality, 3 mini humbuckers. It was a Strat shape essentially. Just a great guitar. I still regret getting rid of that, but that guitar, actually, for whatever reason, at the time, I decided, I'd rather have this, and I made a straight-up trade for this, which now I'm getting around to the redeeming qualities of this. But anyway, so I did that. I had this for maybe, I did that maybe 17 years ago. Okay, had this for maybe about a year. It never did really sound or play that great, and I couldn't figure out why, and didn't know nearly as much about guitars then as I do now. But I sure wasn't sure what was going on with it, and so anyway, I ended up. I can't remember at this point. I either ended up selling it or trading it with a bunch of other stuff to get something else, and didn't really think about it much more after that. So that was 15 or 16 years ago I got rid of this. Alright, so years go by. I move around a few times. I still pretty much stay in Northwest Arkansas. Come back poking around in various pawn shops. Sure enough, I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 years later, I saw this in a pawn shop, and I know it was my same one because I remember the model number, and this is the only one with that color I've ever seen. It was factory. That's not a custom job. But anyway, I was like, hey, there's my old guitar. But I didn't really think much else about it. I just thought, okay, somebody else has had it and didn't care for it. I don't know, a couple years later, sure enough, here it was in a different pawn shop. And it must have made the rounds around northwest Arkansas for, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. Anyway, fast forward a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it ends up in Blue Moon Music up in Fayetteville, where it sets for a while. And I'm a regular customer of Blue Moon. And I noticed it ended up in there, but I didn't really think much else about it. I was just like, oh, there's my old guitar, boy. It still made the rounds, you know. I never did try it out. And I don't know what possessed me exactly. Maybe 2 months back, I went in to get some guitar strings. I thought, well, you know, I'm going to see how that old guitar, it's been 15 years, 16 years, see what it sounds and plays like. So I plugged it in. Thing just sounded absolutely great and played better than I remembered. And I asked Les Haney, the owner, what the story was on this, you know, and if he remembered. Well, I told him that I was the original owner and what he knew about it. He said, yeah, somebody had had it and brought it in for a trade-in 3 or 4 years back with some other stuff. And it's been long enough now, Les can't remember exactly what he did, but he essentially took it apart and I think made an adjustment to the neck, maybe even tinkered with the pickups a little bit, because it just never did sound or play that great, and he's the one that got it where it was supposed to be, where it should have been brand new out of the factory, but it just never did sound good. So anyway, Les, he got this working good, and I said, you know what, this is pretty nice. I think I'm going to take it. So put it on layaway and just picked it up a few days ago. He cut me a sweet deal on it. But anyway, so that's the interesting story about this. But it's a 1990 BC Rich Mockingbird NJ series. And in the video on the Avenge, I said that was the first pointed guitar I had. That's not really true. I'd forgot about this. This really was the first pointed guitar I had, but it's not nearly as much as the Avenge. Anyway, a few things to note on this before I run out of time. So, this body is either made out of alder or ash. I don't know exactly which one. It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those because it got a maple neck with rosewood fingerboard. Usually would not fit one of these with a mahogany body. I've just never seen one that was done, so it's got to be alder or ash, almost definitely. 2 humbucker pickups. Let's see, a volume and a couple tones and a 3-way pickup selector switch. Missing a knob. And then back here on my bridge, I've got a floating bridge. This is a low-profile Kaler, which it did not have the bar with it when I bought it, and nobody's ever got a bar to it. I'm going to try and find one because I'm really curious to see how this sounds. I've read all kinds of things. Some people swear by Kalers. Whoop. Okay, sorry about that. Some people swear by Kalers. Almost all of these floating bridge guitars nowadays are Floyd Roses, which a Floyd, the bridge will